2017, all ordinary and special meetings of Council are to be audio-visually recorded and streamed live. In response to COVID-19 social gathering regulations, this meeting will be held remotely via video conference. Where possible, a live stream of the meeting will be available. Will be made available. A recording of the meeting will be available via the link on the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council website following the meeting. In accordance with the Local Government Act 1993 and Regulation 33, these video audio files will be retained by Council for at least 6 months and made available for viewing live as well as online within 5 days of the scheduled meeting. The written minutes of a meeting, once confirmed, prevail over the video audio recording of the meeting. Please mute microphones during the meeting unless you're speaking. Please indicate by raised hand if you wish to speak and you'll be acknowledged. Welcome councillors, staff, and I declare the meeting open at 2:07 p.m. Welcome Ms. Marissa Walters as Council's Acting General Manager, and on behalf of Council, we thank Ms. Walters for taking on this role and her commitment to the Council and the region. I also take this opportunity to thank Mr. Ian Pearce for his time as Acting General Manager and wish him good health and enjoyment in his retirement. The Glamorgan Spring Bay Council acknowledges the traditional owners of our region and recognises their continuing connection to land, waters and culture. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and emerging. Present today we have Deputy Mayor Jenny Woods and Councillors Simons, Freeney, Churchill, Browning, Robinson and Arnold. So all councillors are present. In attendance we have Ms. Marissa Walters, the Acting General Manager, and Ms. Josie Higgins, Council's Executive Officer, along with Ms. Bevilacqua, Council's Planner. We're now going to move to the late agenda items. So we have 2 late agenda items here. The first one is for a review of use of Council's common seal policy. So with Council's approval, we'd put this in as item 1.4. You've received some documentation, so could we please have a motion? Deputy Mayor Woods? Deputy Mayor Woods, can you just unmute yourself, please?
Yep. I'll move that Council accepts a late agenda item to consider the review of the use of common seal policy as item 7.16 on the agenda for the ordinary council meeting of the 28th of April 2020.
Thank you. Could you, I'll get a seconder for that, but then we'll, go back to the Acting General Manager to speak to the reason why this is late. So could I have a seconder to that motion, please? Councillor Breeney. And to the Acting General Manager.
Thank you, Mayor. The report is submitted to Council as a late report in accordance with the meeting regulations. The report was not included on the agenda as it was an oversight was identified in the existing policy, which was picked up after the agenda was prepared and circulated. It is considered an urgent amendment to the policy to enable us to use the seal to execute final plans and other documents for planning permits that are approved under delegation. And qualified advice has been approved from Council's contract planner, Mr. Purves, in accordance with section 65 of the Local Government Act.
Thank you. Any questions or concerns? No? Well, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you. So that will go in as item 1.4. And then we have a further item proposed at 1.5. I'll pass to the Acting General Manager to speak to this
This late item is about our position on the rate increase for 2021. And again, it's been submitted in accordance with the meeting regulations as a late item. And as we discussed it at the workshop after the agenda was prepared, it needs to be included as a late item and enables us to provide some certainty to ratepayers in these challenging and unprecedented times. So I think it's important we can provide our position on this matter. And advice from myself under Section 65 of the Local Government Act, and as part of the statewide discussions that we've had through LEGAT and with the state government and all the councils statewide to form an agreed position on this across the state.
Great, thank you. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Churchill? Unmute, thank you.
Yes, I think I have. I'm right now. The council accepts a late agenda item to consider a 0% increase on the general rate for 2020/21 financial year as item 7.17 on the agenda for the ordinary council meeting of 28th April 2020.
Thank you. I'd just like to confirm there, so just that it said that council accepts a late agenda item to consider a 0% increase on the general rate.
Correct.
Okay, that's been changed. Could I have somebody to second, please? Councillor Arnold? Councillor Churchill, do you wish to speak to that?
No, I don't need to speak to that at this point. Thank you.
Councillor Arnold? No, thank you. So no further comment. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. So as I said, that'll go in as item 1.5. So so 1.6 is now the item called Bail Bertrand Caddard. So Bertrand Caddard Bertrand was the councillor and mayor at Glamorgan Spring Bay, and on behalf of family friends. If council could please stand for a minute silence to pay respect to Bertrand. Bail Bertrand.
Excuse me, Mayor. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All of what you said to me was garbled other than the last, could we stand for a minute's silence?
Okay.
All of it was.
Thank you. Well, I shall repeat. Can you hear me now? Okay. Okay. So what I said was Bertrand Caddard passed away on the 10th of April 2020. Bertrand was a councillor and mayor at Glamorgan Spring Bay. On behalf of council, we send our condolences to Bertrand's family and friends. Then I went on to please stand for a minute and please stand for a minute silence to pay respects to Bertrand. So I I assume everyone understood why we were standing, and the last bit was bail.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sure. Okay, so just we've turned off the video recording. It seemed to be playing up. So I think that may have caused the issue of not being able to understand what I was saying. There's some interference there. So now we're just audio recording the Zoom meeting. Item 1.6, declaration of interest or conflict. I request elected members to indicate whether they have, 1, any interest personally or via a close associate as defined in section 49 of the Local Government Act 1993, or 2, any conflict as described in Council's Code of Conduct for councillors in any item included in the agenda. Councillor Brini, unmute. Councillor Brini, unmute.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be declaring an interest in item 7.1.
Thank you.
On that point, I would ask if the General Manager could forward me a copy of the form that's required to explain the declaration. Thank you, Marissa.
Great. Thank you.
General Manager.
Thank you. No further conflicts? No. Okay. Sorry, just allow me to get this in order. (2.1) Ordinary meeting of Council, March 24th, 2020. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Browning, unmute, please.
That the minutes of the ordinary meeting of Council held Tuesday the 24th of March 2020 at 2 p.m. be confirmed as a true and correct record.
And somebody to second, please. Councillor Robinson. Please indicate if any councillor has any concerns about the accuracy of the minutes as presented. No, on that basis, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous, thank you. And moving on to 2.2, special meeting of Council, April 9th, 2020. A motion, please. Deputy Mayor.
I move that the minutes of the special meeting of Council held on Thursday, the 9th of April 2020 at 2 p.m. be confirmed as a true and correct record.
Thank you. Somebody to second, please. Councillor Arnold. Please indicate if any councillor has any concerns about the accuracy of the minutes as presented. None. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous, thank you. Item 2.3. There was a workshop on Thursday, the 19th of March 2020. And a further workshop that was in respect to the 1920 budget review, and a further workshop on Tuesday, the 21st of April on various matters, including policy and the pandemic plan. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Brini.
I move that Council notes the information.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Councillor Browning. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. Under Regulation 25 of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2015, I hereby declare that the Council is now acting as a planning authority under the provisions of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993 for Section 3 of the agenda. A motion, please. Councillor Simons.
that council now acts as a planning authority at 2:20.
Thank you. Somebody to second, please. Deputy Mayor. Put the motion. All those in favour? Councillor Robinson, was that a yes? Thank you. Unanimous. Item 3.1, there's a recommendation on page 18. It relates to development application 2020/007 52 Old Spring Bay Road, Swansea. A motion, please. Deputy Mayor.
Pursuant to Section 57 of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993, the Glamorgan Spring Bay Interim Planning Scheme 2015 and the Planning Directive Number 6 Exemption and Standards for Visitor Accommodation in Planning Schemes, Development Application 2020/007 to retrospectively change the use of single residence to visitor accommodation at 52 Old Spring Bay Road, Swansea, CT 142063/6, be approved with the following conditions 1 to 9, including general notes and advice.
Thank you. Somebody to second, please. Councillor Browning. Deputy Mayor Woods, would you like to speak to your motion?
Only to say that the report is very good, but it does disappoint me that it is retrospective, and a couple of points in the recommendations is, are they going to be policed? And also, like with number 2 and number 4, the 10 people, 2 person per room, and the dwelling must not be used for events. Through you to the planner, how are they going to be policed?
Planner, can you unmute yourself? Thank you.
Okay. Yep. Yes, it is an issue with how council won't be able to drive by and do any enforcement action unless people write in and let us know that there's a compliance issue. And as long as we have enough people to go out and deal with it, that would be how we need to deal with it. We need to get a compliance complaint, I suppose, coming in.
Yep. Thank you. If I may, Mayor, on number 6, the external lighting for purposes existing and new must be located, designed and baffled to ensure that no direct light is directed to nearby dwellings or private open space. Will this be inspected when it's complete?
Well, it's actually complete. Oh, sorry, through the Mayor. It is actually complete. It's already there and functioning, and apparently there are 8 lights out the back. So, as with the other 2 conditions, it would need to be dealt with via a complaint for compliance.
Thank you.
Can I just ask a question at this point? Was this the one that there was concerns about the lighting shining? Yeah.
Yes.
So should, like in the past, it used to be to the satisfaction of council's general manager. That's not there. You know, so that we actually had some sort of a standard, you know, that. So I'm just wondering, should that help in respect to, you know, the standard that would be acceptable?
I think it would.
Okay, because so maybe we could, you've got no issue in adding that? To the satisfaction of council's general manager.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Woods and Councillor Browning, any issue with that? Okay. Deputy Mayor Woods, have you finished asking your questions? Yes, thank you. And Councillor Browning, do you wish to speak to your motion? You just need to unmute.
I'd just like to say that I think that even though it is difficult for us to do the compliance, it's really good to have these there so that at least if there is an issue that our compliance people can actually do something about it. So, yeah, I think it's good. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the motion?
Oh,
Yeah, against the motion?
sorry, no, not against the
Hold on,
motion,
Councillor
Madam Mayor.
Simons. Hold on a moment. So nobody wishes to speak against the motion. So for, so I'll go back to Councillor Simons.
I just wanted to say I'm a little concerned about how we enforce some of these conditions. Just reading between the lines from the representatives, it sounds like they've had a fairly nightmarish few years with what's happened there. I'm wondering if they do write in and make a complaint to council, how is it dealt with? If it's an after hours event and it's a noise based event, how do they document that or have any proof?
I'll go to the planner on that, but also Councillor Simons, if it's noise, it often goes to the police also, direct to police. So, you know, it depends. And while somebody can write in, also if it's through the day, you know, they can write and they can also call. So, you know, if it's something that could be addressed then and there, and it's work hours, obviously would make it a bit easier. But over to the planner.
Yes, through the Mayor, I think that's correct. It would be, if it was noise of a night time, it would be a matter of calling the police and then lodging a complaint on the next Monday with the compliance section and the planning section. It's just a first step, I suppose. The compliance journey is a lot longer. It's just something that having conditions like this just provides the basis for compliance down the track if needed. That's my view anyway.
Yeah. And to the planner, I mean, this is an issue for, you know, any accommodation throughout the whole municipality, and compliance is a bit of an issue on how do you determine how many people's inside a house and how many people are actually staying there from who's inside a house. So, you know, hopefully we can have the best possible policing we can do within the limitations that we have, but it is a difficult situation.
And can I add to that, Meg? Quite often when we send out, particularly over the last 6 months, when we've had this rush on the applicate for permits, visitor accommodation permits, when we've worked out how many people the place can accommodate, and that depends on whether it's on sewerage or whether it's on-site wastewater. Quite often people who have previously, in a lot of cases, been allowing more people, they will ring us and say, oh, but we're set up for 6 people, say, instead of 5. So they're actually looking at the permits and taking notice of it. That signals to me that if they weren't going to take any notice, they probably wouldn't even bother to ring us and say, well, why can I only have 5 instead of 6? And then they understand if it's a wastewater system, they're on that it's according to the director's determinations on how many a particular septic system can cater for, or they can upgrade their system and increase the number of people they have. If that's made it any clearer or made it worse.
No, I think I also wanted to take on notice here, this is brought it up, is that whether or not we have any power under a bylaw or modifying our bylaw in respect to this and fines that could be imposed for breaches. So maybe that's something we could look at through the next revision of the bylaw process, whether or not there's anything there we can do to provide the appropriate fine for people who breach in general. So, no further comment. Councillor Brini.
I'd just like a clarification through you, Mayor, to the planner. Condition 2 and condition 3. The maximum occupancy at any one time shall not exceed 10 persons or whatever. This maximum occupancy must be made clear on all advertising and through signage provided in a clearly visible internal or external location near the front entrance to the building. That's pretty clear. The next condition 3 says signage is to be limited to a maximum of one sign no greater than 0.2 square metres and located within the property boundary. No additional signs are to be displayed without separate approval. I presume that number 3 is talking about advertising the B&B, and number 2 is talking about limiting the number of people who go in. We might need to clarify that when we say only one sign's permitted, but if you can address that, please, planner.
Yes, through the Mayor. These are standard conditions, and I view them the same, that the signage to be limited to a maximum of one, no greater than 0.2 of a square metre, is advertising the premises, I guess, the visitor accommodation, and the maximum occupancy is something that's actually on the building itself. But I probably need to get clarification on that. Can I take that on notice and get that clarified?
Thank you.
Mayor?
I think, sorry, Councillor Anna, I'll come to you next. Sorry, I think it's quite clear there, though, that item 3 is advertising signage, isn't it? So maybe you could put the word advertising in front of the word signage. Sorry, Councillor Arnold. Yeah, that might make it clear. And as a standard, a standard clause going forward, if that's okay. And I'll come to you in a moment, Councillor Arnold. Deputy Mayor Woods and Councillor Browning, would you be happy with that to occur? Okay, and sorry, planner, are you happy with that?
Yes.
Thank you. And Councillor Arnold?
All I was going to say was basically the same thing, advertising. But if you recall, in previous reports like this, the word advertising was always part of that standard condition.
Okay.
So it's really just putting the word advertising back into a standard condition.
Yeah. Okay, if there's no further comment, I will put the motion. All those in favour? That is unanimous. Thank you. Item 3.2, Development Application 2019/345, 1533 Dolphin Sands Road, Dolphin Sands. There's a recommendation on page 41. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Brini?
Thank you, Mayor. That pursuant to Section 57 of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993 and the Glamorgan Spring Bay Interim Planning Scheme 2015, Development Application 2019/345 to construct a dwelling at 1533 Dolphin Sands Road, Dolphin Sands, CT 54666/199, be refused on the basis that it does not satisfy the performance criteria D34.4.1 P1A and P1B building height.
Thank you. Somebody to second, please. Councillor Robinson? Councillor Brini, would you like to speak to your motion?
Thank you, Mayor. This is one of those occasions where it's pretty obvious what the situation is, that the building proposed does not comply with the building height requirements. That's section D34.4. And I have to say that the report that dealt with that very issue, amongst other things, of course, consisted of 4 pages of very detailed and very worthwhile comments on the height of the building and floor levels, etc. Something that I think requires commendation to the planner. It was an excellent report, and it made it very easy for me to support this motion.
Excellent. Councillor Robinson, would you like to speak?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The only thing I'd add to that, Mayor, is that yeah, it was an extensive report from the planner. So thanks for that. Made it very clear that the building was too high, not only too high in its initial construction, but also with the roof being able to rise as well, made it even higher. So it was clearly too high all round, and that's why I'll be supporting this motion.
Thank you. Does anyone wish to speak against the motion? Okay, for the motion? No. On that basis, I will put the motion. All those in favour? That's unanimous. Thank you. Under Regulation 25 of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2015, I hereby declare that the Council is no longer now acting as a planning authority under the provisions of the Land Use Planning and Approvals Act 1993 for Section 3 of the agenda. Motion, please. Sorry, I was just laughing. The planner's waving. I thought you wanted to move the motion. Councillor Brini.
I move that Council no longer acts as a planning authority at, got to get my computer up, 2:28 p.m.
Thank you. Somebody to second, please. Councillor Browning. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Before you go, Ms. Bevilacqua, my congratulations to you for some excellent reports there this month. Greatly appreciated.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye. So moving on to item 4, which is public question time. 4.1 is in respect to council meetings. So I will read this. It says, in response to COVID-19 social gathering regulations, council meetings will be held remotely via video conference until further notice, and therefore members of the public are unable to attend the meetings. Glamorgan Spring Bay Council will allow questions to be provided by written notice by 12 noon the day before the ordinary council meeting by either emailing general.manager@freycinet.tas.gov.au or alternatively left in the post box outside the council chamber located at 9 Melbourne Street, Tribunna. There was a question received. It's quite long, so I'm going to read the question and the Acting General Manager is going to respond. It came in within the time frame, so that's why it's going to be asked now, and the Acting General Manager will provide a response. So the question is from Mr. De La Torre of the ASU. 1. I refer to a letter which was sent by Premier Peter Gutwin and Local Government Minister Mark Shelton to all Tasmanian Council Mayors and General Managers dated 16 April 2020. In this letter, the Premier states, it is our expectation that Council should endeavour to retain as many employees as possible during this challenging period, and that to do this, councils will need to adopt different budget and financial positioning strategies than have traditionally been required. Where appropriate, councils should also redirect staff to support their COVID-19 response measures and community relief and recovery initiatives. Can the Acting General Manager provide assurances to Glamorgan Spring Bay Council's employees that no employees will have their employment terminated as a result of COVID-19, and that Council will prioritise the maintenance of employment of each of their employees in any budgetary decisions moving forward?
The COVID-19 situation is challenging from an employment and budget perspective. Glamorgan Spring Bay Council is committed to not standing down our permanent employees, and every endeavour is being made to maintain current staff levels despite the significant financial losses Council is incurring.
Thank you. The second question is clause 43 of Council's Enterprise Agreement, the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council Enterprise Agreement 2018 to 2021, and the Fair Work Act 2009 both provide requirements for consultation in relation to major workplace changes, including the need to relocate employees, the alternation of hours of work or regular rosters, or in the extreme, the potential termination of employment, amongst others. The Australian Services Union and our members seek to enter into collaborative consultation in relation to any potential changes in the workplace as a result of COVID-19. Can the Acting General Manager assure employees of Glamorgan Spring Bay Council that the management team will enter into consultation before any major changes are implemented in the workplace? To the Acting General Manager for the answer.
Mayor. The standard consultation obligations under Glamorgan Spring Bay Council's Enterprise Agreement continue to apply while responding to COVID-19. COVID-19 is unprecedented in its impact on businesses, and our experience at this early stage is that employees are understanding that significant decisions impacting on employee entitlements have needed to be made at short notice. Employers have been supported with the introduction of additional leave category, pandemic leave. Declarations under the Public Health Act 1997 require people to stay at home unless they have to leave their primary residence for the purpose of attending work, if unable to be performed at the person's primary residence. Glamorgan Spring Bay Council continue to work with employees to ensure that those declarations are observed. However, working at home is not possible for all employees. We are committed to regularly communicating with our employees to keep them advised of the changes required to be made to manage the impacts of COVID-19. If we need to implement any change, we aim to provide advance notice, if possible, of the change and give an opportunity to consult on the effect of the changes.
Thank you. And the third question is, given that local government is not eligible for the federal government's JobKeeper program, the changes which were made to the Fair Work Act 2009 in relation to COVID-19 stand downs and alternation of an employee's regular hours do not apply to the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council. Section 524 of the Act, employer may stand down employees in certain circumstances, requires that an employee only be stood down where they cannot usefully be employed. That is to say that there is no useful work for employees to undertake. Can the Acting General Manager provide a guarantee that all possible alternate duties will be explored before considering standing down, including things that are usually outside of Council's core business, but which assist the community with getting through and recovering from COVID-19? The Union can provide further details and suggestions around this matter to the General Manager. Acting General Manager.
Through you, Mayor. The Glamorgan Spring Bay Council is committed to keeping our employees engaged in meaningful work and is investigating options that include alternate duties within our organisation. Councils are working proactively with staff in responding to requirements arising from this pandemic.
Thank you. So the question and answer will be provided in the minutes. Item 4.2 is a question from Mr. De La Torre, and a response is provided by the Acting General Manager. 4.3 is a question from Mr. Murray, taken on notice at the Ordinary Council meeting 24th of March 2020. Response provided by the Acting General Manager. Moving on to item 5. Information reports. They go from page 50 to page 88. I'll move through again the pages in groups for any questions. Probably a little bit helpful, particularly under the circumstances of using this platform. So we'll start with page 50 to 53. Are there any questions? Okay, 54 to 57. 58 to 61. 62 to 66. Page 67. Page 68, 69. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. I'm sure everyone saw the response to your questions to the General Manager, Acting General Manager, with regards to various issues within this report. And I was just wondering if the Acting General Manager has any further to add to on page 69, council club rooms, install catchnet window protection. Has this issue been sorted?
Acting General Manager.
Hey, Mayor. Yes, the officers have been to have a look at it, and they're going to do some work to rectify the issue, to shorten the pole that's sticking out of the ground and put an appropriate cover on it, so that's then at ground level, which should address the safety issues on that. And I expect that work will be done fairly soon, coming weeks.
Thank you.
Page 77, Councillor Simons.
I just had a question. One, I didn't quite understand the excavator and trailer line.
What page number, Councillor?
Sorry, back at 69. Yeah.
Sure. Okay.
Just near the bottom there in plant and equipment. Did we buy a bigger excavator, or what was the 94,000 for?
Okay. So I sent a question out in respect to this, and the response went to all councillors, but to the Acting General Manager. The response came back from the Acting General Manager. And so I'll just hand over to Ms. Walters to go through that again.
Thank you.
So there was an incident with one of council's plant. I believe it was an excavator. Jogging my memory here. And the insurance company decided it needed to be written off and could not be repaired. So we received a payout from the insurance company. So the original item that is on the capital works that the works manager had budgeted for, we didn't go ahead with. We put that budget allocation towards, and the insurance money towards, replacing the plant item that had been written off.
Okay.
And from memory, it was about $6,000 or $4,000 difference, I think, that we over the budget amount for the difference on the larger excavator. Yeah. Yeah, from memory, it was about 36,000 we received from the insurance company, together with the 48,000. So there is a small shortfall there. Yeah, not much. Councillor Simons.
So sorry, what's the invoice received to date amount of 94,000 for?
So that was for the new excavator, which replaces the one that was written off. That's the whole cost of the new one. It's the amount that will go on the asset register.
Okay, so the insurance money was 36,000, and then council put the remainder towards it. Is that correct?
Correct.
Yep. Okay. Sorry.
And it's about a $6,000 or $4,000 shortfall there that we needed to find extra money, around, let's say, $5,000 extra we needed to find over and above what was budgeted. So there wasn't a lot of difference.
So sorry, was it for a 1.5 ton excavator and trailer, or?
No, I believe the details are slightly different. That was the original item that we planned to purchase, which will get delayed and be bid for at next budget.
Yeah, so it's not a 1.5 ton excavator, is it? Because you wouldn't pay $94,000 for a 1.5 ton excavator.
I believe it was an excavator. I just don't have the details.
No. It was a larger excavator that was replaced.
Okay, that's what I was trying to clarify.
Yes,
Thank you.
Okay, so moving forward to page 71. Questions 72, 73. 74. 75 to 77. $78 to $80. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor Wisby. I would just like to congratulate Manager of Community Development with regards to the kindness bags that have been provided to elderly and vulnerable people. I happened to be at my mother's house when one was delivered by Mrs. Turvey and Mrs. Hicks, and it was greatly received, and it really certainly lifted her spirits. So I'd like to congratulate them on this initiative.
Thank you. Page 81 to 84. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you again, Mayor. I'm just wondering, within this report, there's nothing there with regards to the concerns that were raised with regards to the Swansea boat ramp. And I'm just wondering if there's any update on that issue.
Acting General Manager.
Through you, Mayor, we haven't received any update at this stage, and I did discuss this with the officer last week. So we need to follow up discussions, particularly with MAST, where this is at.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to page 85 to 88. Okay, so on page 88 there is a recommendation. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Arnold.
That the management reports be received and noted.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Deputy Mayor Woods. Put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. Item 6.1, Statement of Expectations Committee. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Brenny.
I move that the Statement of Expectations Advisors Report be received and noted.
Councillor Brenny, do you think it should say Advisors Report dated the 28th of the 4th 20 to make it very clear what report we're referring to here?
Yes, that'd be a good point. Actually, I overlooked that. This is not the first or the last report, I presume. So yes, if we could amend my recommendation or my motion that the Statement of Expectations Advisors Report dated 28th of April 2020. Excuse me, is that the date of the report or the date of this meeting?
Oh, a report. Oh, maybe, sorry.
I'll do it this way. That the Statement of Expectation Advisors Report as presented to the April 28th, 2020 Council meeting be received and noted.
Thank you. Somebody to second, please. Councillor Churchill. Councillor Brenny, would you like to speak to your motion?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Churchill.
Fine, thanks.
Sure. Anyone wish to speak against? For, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. Following page, item 6.2. There's a recommendation on page 93. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Browning?
I move that the unconfirmed minutes of the Statement of Expectation Committee meeting held on the 16th of March 2020 be received and noted.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Councillor Robinson? Councillor Browning, do you wish to speak?
No.
Thank you. Councillor Robinson?
No.
Okay. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For, I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Item 7.1, Councillor Brini, you will go into the waiting room. You're just on mute. Okay. Okay. So Councillor Brini has gone into the waiting room. Modern technology is excellent, and the Acting General Manager has done that because I'd have no idea how to do that. So well done. So this is a request for a letter of support, Swansea Courthouse Management Committee. Could I have a motion, please? Deputy Mayor?
I move that Council retrospectively endorses the letter of support provided to the Swansea Courthouse Management Committee by the Mayor on behalf of Council in support of the Committee's application for funding through the Tasmanian Community Fund dated the 30th of March 2020.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Councillor Churchill? Sorry, Deputy Mayor Wood, do you wish to speak?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Churchill?
Yeah, just to wish them well, and hopefully they'll get this amount of money, because I think it's money well spent on a very valuable asset to the community if they are able to get it. And yeah, thanks for everyone supporting it.
Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? Put the motion. All those in favour? Councillor Robinson, where are you? Oh, Councillor Robinson has frozen. Oh, he's back. He's woken up here. Okay. Okay. Can we take all those in favour? All those in favour again? It's unanimous. Sorry, Councillor Robinson, that looked really funny because you were frozen there for a while and then suddenly sort of shook out of it. And
Mayor, you were all frozen except me on my screen.
Oh. Okay. Oh, sorry. Now you're supposed to remind me to have Councillor Brini return from the waiting room. Councillor Brini? Yeah, that was unanimous support.
Thank you.
Okay. Item 7.2, request for letter of support, Orford Bowls Club. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Arnold?
That Council retrospectively endorses the letter of support provided to the Orford Bowls Club by the Mayor on behalf of Council in support of the club's application for funding through the Tasmanian Community Fund dated the 8th of April 2020.
And somebody to second, please. Councillor Robinson. Councillor Arnold, would you like to speak to your motion?
No, only like Councillor Churchill, wish the Orford Bowls Club well in their endeavours to gain some funding.
Thank you, Councillor Robinson.
No, just concur with what Councillor Arnold.
Thank you. We would jam up again. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. 7.3, recruitment policy. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Simons?
The Council adopts the recruitment policy as presented, effective 28th of April 2020.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Councillor Brini? Would the mover like to speak to the motion?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Brini? Councillor Brini, just unmute yourself. Was that?
I don't speak against it. It speaks for itself. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. 7.4, corporate credit card policy. A motion, please. Deputy Mayor?
Thank you. I'll move that council adopts the corporate credit policy. That should, I would
Credit card, yep.
That council adopts the corporate credit card policy as presented effective 28th of April 2020.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Councillor Arnold, would the mover like to speak?
No, thank you. It speaks for
Seconder?
itself.
No. Against? Or put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. Fraud control policy 7.5. A motion, please. Councillor Robinson?
Yes, I'd like to put the motion that council adopts the fraud control policy as presented effective 28th of April 2020.
Sure. Somebody to second? Councillor Browning? Councillor Robinson, would you wish to speak?
No.
Thank you. Councillor Browning? Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. Item 7.6, asset management policy. A motion, please. Councillor Brini? Off mute, Councillor Brini.
That council adopts the asset management policy as presented effective 28th of April 2020.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Councillor Churchill. Would the mover wish to speak?
No, thank you.
Seconder? No. Anyone against? Speak for? Put the motion. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. You keeping up here? Yeah. Oh, good. 7.7, rate relief for religious organisations policy. A motion, please. Oh, Councillor Simons is walking. Councillor Arnold?
That council adopts the rate relief for religious organisations policy as presented effective the 28th of April 2020.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Deputy Mayor Woods. Councillor Arnold, would you like to speak?
No, thank you, Mayor. It speaks for itself.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. No. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. Item 7.8, rate relief for community groups policy. A motion, please. Councillor Browning?
I move that council adopts the rate relief for community groups policy as presented effective the 28th of April 2020.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Councillor Brini? Mover wish to speak?
Through the Mayor, I just wrote a note on here that I saw this one was adopted by a council in 2006. And it's good to see these policies getting updated and...
Yes, it is. Councillor Brini?
No need. Thank you.
Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Thank you. Item 7.9, a motion, please. Deputy Mayor?
I move that council adopts the financial hardship assistance model policy as presented effective 28th of April 2020.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Councillor Browning, would you like to speak to the motion, Deputy Mayor? Councillor, sorry. Councillor Browning? Oh, sorry, just hold with me for a moment. My battery's going flat.
It speaks for itself. Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Just give me a minute. Down quick. Can you reach me there? Hold on, just pull my laptop over this way, yeah?
These things do drain your computer batteries quickly, don't they?
Wow, I had full battery there. Thank you. I had full battery at the start of this meeting and I went down that quick. So, hold on, I've just got to move with my things. Might have been the speed was going through this agenda. So, speaks for itself. That's where we got to. Councillor Browning? Yes. Anyone wish to speak against? For? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you.
Excuse me, Mayor, if I could interrupt. I was not given enough time to make a comment on that last one. If it could just be, it was a little bit quick.
Okay, what was your comment?
On that issue, I just wanted to commend the fact that this is probably one of the most important motions that or policies that we will adopt at this time, given the COVID-19 situation, and that we remain aware of the implications that this will have for us as a council on our budget. Thanks.
Thank you. Item 7.10, draft Glamorgan Spring Bay Council Pandemic Response Plan. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Churchill?
I move that Council endorses the GSBC Pandemic Response Plan as presented effective 28th of April 2020.
Somebody to second, please. Councillor Greenie. Councillor Churchill, do you wish to speak?
No.
Councillor Greenie? No. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Councillor Simons? Councillor Simons is frozen there for a moment. Oh, his hand's come up. Okay, it's unanimous. Thank you. Councillor Simons, oh, he's totally gone. We'll just wait for Councillor Simons to come back and confirm that if he could just come and talk.
Sorry, I just charged her in. That's why I went missing.
Okay, so you were voting for that motion of 7.10?
Yep.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So that's unanimous. Item 7.11, Glamorgan Spring Bay Council Remote Meeting Guide. Could I have a motion, please? Sorry, Councillor Browning?
I move that Council adopts the Glamorgan Spring Bay Council Remote Meeting Guide as presented effective 28th of April 2020.
And somebody to second, please. Councillor Arnold? Councillor Browning, do you wish to speak?
No.
Councillor Arnold? No. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. 7.12, Council Meeting Audio Visual Recording and Live Streaming Policy. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Simons?
That Council adopts the review audio visual recording and live streaming policy as presented effective 28th of April 2020 to be reviewed as required.
Thank you. Somebody to second. Councillor Robinson. Councillor Simons, do you wish to speak to your motion?
No, it speaks for itself. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Councillor Robinson?
No.
No, thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Item 7.13, minutes of audit panel meeting 17 March 2020. Sorry, I just need to have a drink. Oh, sorry, Councillor Churchill, you can put the motion. Yeah, oh, sorry, move the motion.
I move that the minutes of the audit panel meeting held on 17th of March 2020 be received and noted.
Thank you. Somebody to second. Deputy Mayor Woods. Councillor Churchill, do you wish to speak?
No, there's nothing to speak on there, I don't think. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Woods is shaking her head. She doesn't wish to speak. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. (7.14) Audit Charter. A motion, please. Councillor Arnold.
I move that Council adopts the audit charter as presented effective the 28th of April 2020.
Somebody to second, please. Councillor Robinson. You wish to speak to your motion, Councillor Arnold?
No, thank you, Mayor.
Councillor Robinson?
No.
Thank you. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? I'll put the motion. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you. 7.15 Buckland Cricket Club. Could I have a motion, please? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to move that Council approves the application for the Buckland Cricket Club for a grant of $750 to erect a new steel fence, rail fence, from the clubhouse entrance gates to the start of the dog exercise area fence.
Thank you. Somebody to second, please. Councillor Arnold. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. If I could,
Sorry, I've been to get people to. We just got to the end of the meeting, and I forgot to ask anybody, do they wish to close? Anyway.
That's okay.
Can I just say something before you close? Having been down here, down to the side, there is not a very big area that would actually tidy up that whole street in the fencing. So we're going to have really good fencing, yucky fencing, really good fencing. So this section will tidy up that whole street. So I'll be supporting this. Over to you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. The reason why I've moved this motion is, and knowing, of course, that they've already received a grant, but given the fact that we have Council have put a dog exercise area there, I think it's important that we do have and support the club in putting up this new fencing, considering also too that the cricket club themselves are going to be doing the job, and I commend them for it.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for reminding me that the mover has to speak last. That's excellent. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Okay, so moving on to item 7.16, which is the late report, review of use of Council's common seal policy. The reports there is a recommendation. Could I have a motion, please? Councillor Arnold.
I'll move that Council amends the policy 6.5, use of Council's common seal as presented effective the 28th of April 2020.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Councillor Browning. You wish to speak, Councillor Arnold?
No, thank you, Mayor. I think it's probably past time. It was reviewed and amended.
Thank you. Would you, Councillor Browning? No. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion? I assume you don't wish to close the debate.
Thank you for the opportunity, Mayor, but no.
Bit late, but anyway. I'll put the motion. All those in favour? Well, that's unanimous. Thank you. Moving on to item 7.17. Late report item, 0% rate increase 2020 to 21. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll move that Council endorses a 0% increase in the general rate for the 2020-21 financial year.
Thank you. Councillor Breeny, you're seconding that? Deputy Mayor, do you wish to speak?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll wait to close if there's any need to do that.
Sure. Councillor Breeny?
Another very important item. It's relief due to, of course, COVID-19, probably something that we won't see again for a while, but it's a very important issue. Thank you.
He's hoping. Anyone wish to speak against the motion? For the motion, to Deputy Mayor Woods to close.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll be supporting this wholeheartedly and concurring also with Councillor Breeny's comments. We are in unprecedented times, and I think we need to be very proactive and mindful of the sometimes debilitating situations that some of our people can find themselves in. And if we can do anything we can to help them, I think it's important to do so. So again, I'll be supporting this 110%. Thank you.
Thank you. Put the motion. All those in favour? Unanimous. Thank you. Item 8, notices of motion. There aren't any. Item 9, petitions. There aren't any. Item 10, which is the motion tracking document. I'll just speak generally on this quickly. I'd like to thank the Acting General Manager and the Executive Officer for their work in updating the status of this document. The document length has grown, but it's far more useful information because we can see where things are at, and we can see also a time frame to bring these things to conclusion. So I think that's excellent. So thank you. So we could move through these sheets, asking if there's any questions. So question pages 115 to 117. 118 to 121. 122 to 125. 126 to 129. 130 to 133. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. On page 131, it started actually on page 130, which is a late agenda report implementation of social distancing. And on page 131, the decision is one, the use of council halls and club rooms by the public, including all sport and community groups, excluding official council business, will cease until further notice. I had a call from somebody within the community, and they noticed that there were some people up at the Tribunal Recreation Ground or the Tribunal Football Clubs. It was to do with flu injections. So I rang our acting general manager to ask what the go was, what the situation was, and I just wanted to say that she explained it very well to me, and I just wanted everyone to know that that question had been raised and that the answer has been given. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I actually went up there and got my flu shot, and it was a really good location for social distancing, I must say. Okay, so no further questions from page 130 to 133. Well, that's the end. Could I please have a motion, Deputy Mayor?
Thanks, Mayor. That council receives and notes the information contained within the motion tracking document, and also congratulations to our Acting General Manager and Executive Officer on a good report. Thank you. You don't need to add that to it.
Okay, that's just a note. And somebody to second. Sorry, Councillor Arnold. Do you wish to speak, Deputy Mayor?
I just did inappropriately, so.
That's fine. Councillor Arnold, do you want to add anything? No? Okay, obviously no one's against, no one wants to speak for. Okay, put the motion, all those in favour? It's unanimous, thank you. Okay, questions without notice. Sorry, Councillor Arnold.
Mayor, it's not actually a question. I'd just like to make a comment in relation to a situation that occurred to our family and the way the council staff actually handled it. It was beyond brilliant given our current circumstances. My husband took his eyes off our Springer Spaniel pup for a very short period of time, and she followed someone home. That person rang the council office with the number, and within 20 minutes we had her back. So I'd just like to pay tribute to those staff members who were responsible to do that. That's great. Thank you.
It's certainly a wonderful moment when you get your dog back. It's a very stressful moment.
Thank you.
Excellent. I'm sure the Acting General Manager will pass that on to the staff.
Yep, thank you.
Any further? No. Okay, moving on to, so it's item 12, confidential items will be in closed session. I'll just read through this. In accordance with the requirements of the Local Government Meeting Procedures Regulations 2015, I declare the meeting closed to the public in order to discuss the following matters. Item 1, minutes of closed session, ordinary council meeting held on the 24th of March 2020, closed under Regulation 34. Item 2, minutes of closed session, special council meeting held on the 9th of April 2020, closed under Regulation 15.2GI. Item 3, supply of pavement materials 2020 to 2021, closed under Regulation 15.2D. And item 4, personnel matter, closed under Regulation 15.2A. If I could check that the audio recording is turned off. And I will, if we could.
I move that council moves into closed session at 3:24 p.m.
Thank you. Somebody to second? Councillor Robinson. All those in favour? It's unanimous. Thank you.